Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So today we will be discussing on one of the most asked interview question, that is how to find the missing ID in the sequence of number. Now before jumping to the solution, so let's just understand the problem statement. So we do have one table, select star from employees. Okay. Now, so in this table, so there are two columns, that is ID and name. And if you could minutely observe, so there are some missing ID, means after 1, so there should be 2 but it's 3. After 4, so there should be 5 but it's 6, and after 6 there should be it should be 7, but after 7 there should be 8 but it's 9, right? So here 2, 5 and 8 are the missing ID. Okay, so we will be finding the solution with the help of Lead Window Analytic Function. Now the first steps of what I will do, for the existing ID I will be finding the next ID. I will be finding the next ID with the help of lead function. Now what will be the query for that? Select ID comma lead of ID over order by ID as next ID from employees. Okay, so how this query will work, okay, let's just try to find out in an Excel sheet. Okay, now we do have this employee table, correct? We do have this employee table. Now with the help of lead function, so what it will do, we are going to find the next ID, correct? So we are going to find the next ID. So how the lead function will work, so it will take a next ID, next row ID for the existing ID. So what will be the next ID for 1? It will be 3, correct? Because in second rows it is 3, because the next ID is a 3, correct? Then for 3, so what it will be? It will be 4. Then for 4, what it will be? It will be 6. Then for 6, what it will be? It will be 7. And for 7, what it will be? It will be 9. And for 9, it will be null, correct? So we got the next ID for the existing ID. Okay, now let's just try to run this query. So similarly we got an output, correct? For 1 it is 3, because next ID is 3. So the lead function is working like this. Now what we will do, if you could minutely observe, so we will just try to generate a pattern. Okay, we will just try to generate a pattern. Suppose for example we are having the ID column, and in the ID column, so 1, 2 and 3, so these are the IDs. Okay, and the next ID, so with the help of lead function, so what will be the next ID? It will be 2, then it will be 3, and then it will be null, correct? Now so these are in a sequential order, correct? So these are in a sequential order and no missing IDs are there. So if we try to find the difference between the next ID and ID, so what is the difference, right? So it is 1 and it is 1 and it will be null, because whenever we are doing the next ID minus null minus 3, so the value will be null, correct? So if there is no any kind of a missing ID, then the difference is 1, correct? Now let's just try to implement this particular logic over here. Okay, now 3 minus 1, so what will be the 3 minus 1? Here we can put next ID minus ID. So let's just try to find what will be the solution. Okay, so 3 minus 1, so it is true, it is 2. Okay, 4 minus 1, it is 1, correct? 6 minus 4, it is 2. Then 7 minus 6, it is 1. And then 9 minus 7, so it is again 2. And then null minus, so it will be null, because null minus 9, so it will give us the output as a null only, correct? Now if you could see the pattern, so whenever there are the missing ID, so the next ID minus ID, so it is always greater than 1, correct? Between 1 and 3, 2 is missing, so the difference is 2, which is greater than 1. Here also between 4 and 6, the 5 is missing. Then again the difference is 2, which is greater than 1. Then again between 7 and 9, 2 is missing. Then again the difference is greater than 1. Now what we can do, so we can apply, so we can take this particular query as an inner query. Okay, we can take this particular query as an inner query, and can we just put a where clause over here, where next ID minus ID is greater than 1, correct? So now, so what we can retry? Okay, so what value we can retry? As we can observe over here, and as we can observe, so here whenever we are doing the we are doing the difference, right? So next id minus id, correct? So what will be the missing id over here whenever we are doing the next id minus id? So we are getting the 2. Oh, correct, we are getting the 2 as a output, which is greater than 1. But here, so the missing id will be id plus 1, correct? id plus 1, which is equals to 2. Similarly, whenever here as well, where the next id minus id difference is greater than 2, here also 6 minus 4, if you put id plus 1, id plus 1, then here also it will be 5. And similarly 9 minus 7, so next id minus id, so difference is greater than, here also if we put id plus 1, similarly we will get, what we will get, we will get as a 8. So 258 is a missing id, correct? So this is the output we want. So we can retry, select id plus 1 from, correct? Select id plus 1 as a missing id. So we can just give the alias to it, okay, as missing id from this inner query where we have put the condition as where next id minus id greater than 1, correct? So let's just try to execute this query. So we got 258, which are the missing id from the employee table, correct? So this is the solution. If you want to order by, so it's already ordered by, but if you want to put the order by clause as well, so you can do that. Order by missing id, order by missing id, sorry, missing id, okay?